Hello. Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. Tonight is going to be a very special and beautiful night of cultural exploration. Spotify is very proud to be sponsoring such an important event that honors African history and highlight the beauty and depth of some of the numerous some of the numerous cultures of this vast and rich continent. It is very dear to my heart to be able to collectively dig deeper into the roots of our being and soul to discover its wonders. I have the pleasure to introduce you to our host tonight, Dimima Nogusa Mseleku, a deeply passionate and inspiring singer, writer, sonic poet, and yogi from both London and KwaZulu, South Africa. Thank you so much, Dimima, for the quality, your dedication, your vision you have brought to this project. And now I will let you introduce you to our first and very special guest, Alexander London. Thank you for coming, everyone.
Sanbona, hi guys. Thank you everyone for coming. It's a beautiful experience. This is the very first Diaspora Dialogues. So welcome. Just to very begin, to take it to the ancestors present tonight, everybody's presence here, we are grateful. That's our culture, to acknowledge, not just us, but those who walk with us as well, and those who allowed us to be present in this moment. So Siyathokoza, give thanks for that. This Diaspora Dialogues is a passion project for me. It's important to find ways to just basically make that connection between what it is to basically be anti-racist and all of those things in this society. We need to actually dig deeper and find out about culture, right? We need to learn each other's cultures and to figure out what makes, London has so much vibes, and it's a lot of African people, a lot of people of the diaspora that create those vibes, right? And so for me, it's really important for us to honor that culture, that lineage. So I'm here to make that connection. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have my very, very first guest, my friend, my brother from another mother and from the motherland. And this is an inspiration, a wonderful, wonderful artist, a creator, a visionary, and just such a great being. And I'm so honored to have you as my very first guest. So thank you for being here. Please, everyone, give loads of love to Alexander London. So we want to talk. I would just want to chat with you. Let's chop it up.
Let's do it.
I just want to know about, first of all, your cultural identity. Talk to us about how do you identify yourself? Like.
Hey everyone, by the way. I feel like if it's me and you, I'd probably be like, East London, Nigerian. Mm-hmm. But then in certain spaces, I'm just black. Then I've just come back from Nigeria, and when I was in Nigeria, I was Yoruba. But then it's not good enough to just end there. It's like, no, where is your dad from? What state? And then what state is your mum from? So then it gets broken down into my mum's from Ogun State. My dad's from Osun State. So then they want to know, depending on, I'm from the state as well, what bit of the state? So it always depends. When I'm in New York, all of a sudden I'm black. Like, I ain't even trying to make it anything, because I recognize, I read the room. And I just want to be there with you. I don't need to do that. But when you're in secondary school, when I was in secondary school, I was definitely African. So it depends. It just depends.
So it's a shape-shifting, adapting. I think we can all relate to that. We can all relate to, especially as African people, relate to the idea of, like you said, reading the room and shape-shifting. But there also comes that pride as you connect deeper with your lineage. Like you're saying, you've just come from Nigeria. When was the last time that you were in Nigeria, actually? prior to this trip?
Literally 20 plus something years.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Tell us
it was
about
mad.
it. Like, we want to know, like, what was that like for you? Like, what is it like to spend that much time away and then go back and reconnect?
So, I don't really want to be in London anymore. I already felt like that after 2020, to be honest. I feel like a few of us might feel like that. But yeah, I didn't want to come back personally. I was very much like, I can't get enough of this. Yeah, till I open my mouth, I'm one of them. Sometimes I'll dress a certain way and they'll be like, where are you from? But but generally, till I open my mouth, I'm one of them. But then I open my mouth and then it's like, wait, you're not one of us. But sometimes even my mannerisms and you're not allowed to be shy in Yoruba culture. I don't know, it's a weird one. It's like,
Interesting.
speak up. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like someone will
Speak
hit
with
you.
your
Yeah.
chest.
Like, you know. So yeah, it depends. But what's it like? It was amazing. It was just spiritually, the language, the culture, the clothes. You know, like it was just It was. I can't really
Articulate
Nah.
the depth of like how beautiful.
It's like you're in Peckham times a million. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know how to describe it.
I love that.
Yeah, it's
The origins of Peckham.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking the other day with a friend of mine and who's also from Nigeria, and we were talking about how there's this narrative that has been portrayed for a long time regarding like poverty being related to Africa, and how actually a lot of us moved here and experienced that this is poverty. You know, there's so much abundance at home. There's so much that, like, the richness of the soil to begin with, you know, and then also the culture, the people, the colors, there's so much. And so I completely, get you when you say you didn't feel like you spent enough time there. That's why my friends would be like, are you coming back to London? Like, because when I'm home, I feel home. But there is something about London as well that I also love. I love, there are things about London, but I kind of realized that I love London in the summer. It's a bit cold, but I feel like we've spoken about just us giving a lot to what makes London a vibe. Do you know what I mean? And then also, a lot of the time, we don't always get acknowledged or, respected or even compensated is a weird word to use, but like we often asked to do stuff for free.
No flowers.
And stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. And I just, I really would like us to change that narrative and to be, just doing things like this to celebrate us more.
You're doing it.
Yes. So tell me about the challenges then in terms of exploring your cultural identity.
So I'll run through it as quickly as I can from like the beginning. So my parents came over in the 80s. But again, you talk about poverty. They were coming from a difficult time, definitely. But it wasn't fun when they came here. Like, it was definitely, what do we talk about? Wealth, like happiness. So your family, all of a sudden, that's shrunk.
Right.
Your network has shrunk.
Yeah.
You think 2020 we're still having certain conversations?
Sorry.
It's okay.
We have invented something groundbreaking.
But like 2020, we're having certain conversations and we're literally like, oh, this needs to change and that needs to change and we're tired of this, and whether it's get off our necks or we can't breathe or did you just watch what just happened there? Literally, like 30, 40 years ago when my parents were here, there's the same stuff was happening.
Yeah.
And I don't know about...
It's frustrating.
Yeah. So that happened, I guess. I grew up in North London. I remember my mum... Huh?
Old tight, North London.
My mum literally saying she was in the hospital and she came back and the door was just off the hinges. Like, they got burgled. Oh. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, everything was just wrapped in the madness of... You're not pronouncing words correctly, so you're not going to get a job, or people are going to try and take you for a certain, like, oh, you don't know anything. But you got your degrees, right? Yeah. And you're literally, both of them work in the NHS, so they've always been like, clap for the NHS, like, clap for my parents. Like, do you know what I mean? But I didn't grow up bitter. I'm very grateful. I didn't grow up bitter, but I saw them just struggle so much. We moved to East. Well, we were in South and North, and that was straight up because of immigration. My parents couldn't put their head down without them being in a sticky situation time and time again. They were contributing. They were doing what they were doing, but they couldn't. It was eggshells all around them. So we were in North and South, Peckham and Holloway, but then we moved to East, and I think that's when I started to taste a bit of like, wow, we were no longer in the council estate. I had a garden. Just little things changed, and I was like, rah, this is all right. This is okay. Like, my parents are no longer like, you can't be out anymore because the neighborhood was safer and there was, you know, I'm very grateful for them. I'm very grateful for the experience, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just in my head now. Secondary school, college, uni, it was all different experiences and different moments, but yeah. I'll
Can I interject and can we just clap for your parents, actually?
Yeah, geez, I love them. Yeah. Like, I'm very proud of them, and I tell them this regularly. Like, once when we were young, I was like, do you have to wear that to parents' evening? Does that have to be in my packed lunch? You know, do I have to wear this?
These are real things, though, that a lot of us face.
You know,
Us face these
or
things.
if you're gonna speak, does it, the volume? Why is it so?
Oh my gosh, that is me to my mother every day.
But now I get it, because someone told me the other day, like, vinegar doesn't smell nice, but your colleague will rock into the office and be like, yeah, do you want a chip? But then why has my food got to, you know I'm coming. So yeah, I could talk about it all day long, but yeah, I'm proud of them.
I feel you. So then what were the opposite of the challenges? Like, what are some of the exciting things that, you know, where you felt that pride and you had those moments of like, nah, like, what was that transition that made you feel proud then? Like, or when did that happen?
We always had the moments. So the food didn't taste bad. It was the world telling me not to like it. Like, I didn't mind knowing why my name was that many syllables, because it had meaning. It wasn't Stone or Smith or some, you know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, the world wouldn't allow us to be happy and revel in that. You always had one kid whose hair fell down like that and he could flick his hair, telling me about my pepper greens. And I want to be like you because I want to fit in, right? And I want to, like, I don't want to get teased, but there was nothing wrong with me.
At all.
You know? So, yeah.
So when was that moment that you had that shift? When, or maybe it was now in Nigeria, like, like, tell me about those moments of celebration of your culture, and like when you really enjoyed your food, or when you had that moment of connecting to it, like, actually this tastes really good, or...
There were always those moments, but secondary school,
yeah,
that's when I realized, even though the Diaspora Wars, I don't know if anyone remembers those in the education days, you'd always have Caribbeans v Africans, then it would be Nigerians v Ghanaians, and it was all of that. So I guess even though it wasn't necessarily the most positive examples, it was nice to stand next to someone who, like, I'm not your friend, I don't like you, but we both got the long ass surname, and you know what I mean? Yeah. So we can, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you know, and then the reason why I say I didn't necessarily like them is because God knows there was a lot of self-hate around me and in me, and because our hair we couldn't do that with our hair, you know what I mean? Like, so we had all these pent-up issues. Like, if it's not your parents doing street fight on you because you've got bad grades or you're being rude or something, like, there's always so much
going on.
Like, you know what I mean? So, like, I'm dropping all of these things. I hope people are catching them, because I can't be bothered to go through it all. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
we are receiving it.
Yeah. So, but there were always, man, and uni was beautiful because there was this thing where Africans, you know, you're not allowed to not go to uni. Like, obviously you go to uni, you know what I mean? So all of a sudden we're all there, and we're all reveling in our excellence.
Yes.
But we can go to a dance and we're hearing Afro beats. I remember those early days of Afro beats. What was it? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. So like before the WizKids and the Burners and the Davidos and stuff. Even the early days of that, you could have a DJ and your name was like, I can't even think of anyone, but I knew you were African.
Yeah.
I knew you were African.
Yeah.
It wasn't a Jamaican or Caribbean DJ. Like the culture shifted. That was like late 2000 mid 2006, 7, 8, 9. Them days they were nice. That's when I started to realize that there was still some issues with us, but there was a lot more love and it was nice. I think that was another moment. But I went to White Garment Church. I don't know if anyone knows that. It's like Yoruba. Yeah. Sele, cherubim, seraphim. But you're going to a space where they're speaking Yoruba and teaching you from the Bible, but it's a Yoruba Bible. So those little moments were always there. But that was when you walk into the church, and then when you walk out, you have to quickly put your shoes on because you can't wear your shoes when you're in a White Garment Church. But you'd walk out and then you're back in the real world. So there were these moments, but then I think uni, I could really revel in it. And secondary school was another moment.
Hey, thank you for sharing. So, did you listen to African music in your household?
We did. But there was a lot of other music, but we did.
Yeah, what was playing at home as you were growing up?
Do you know what? It was a lot of Fuji and Juju, so it was like... like it was like with 80s, you know, like...
Yes, I love
it.
It
was really cool because it was like disco, but African disco. Yeah, it was fun.
I feel like other genres that use those sounds can be really grating sometimes. Like, you know those cheaper synths? But then, no, I know. But I feel like when we do, like, when I hear it in that format, I'm like, yes, I just feel so connected to it because it's the spirit and energy that goes into it, right? And even today, like, we're listening to Amapiano today. These guys are laughing. We're listening to Amapiano today, and they use those cheap sounds on the, you know, and they pretend to be a saxophone sometimes, and I'm like, no, just get the saxophonist, man. Anyway, but when we do things, we do it with just such a passion and you know, we catch that rhythm and I love it. Yeah. So you've selected a track for us to in relation to your cultural identity. Yes. So do you want to talk about it a little bit before? Do you want to introduce it, or should we talk about it after? Should we just play it? What do you want to do?
You can play it.
Okay, let's run it up, and then you can talk about it to us after. You're passing that. So this is Knowles Barkley, Go Go Gadget Gospel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So tell me more, because I mean, I listened. I love the lyrics already. I'm shapeless. I'm formless. Like I'm free. Like so, I love that you've chosen this too, because this is how I connect to your culture. When I think of you and I think of your culture, I think of freedom. I think of shapeless. I think of formless. I think of don't put me in a box and call me one thing. So, but you tell me why this track is important for you.
So I think the amount of times I've walked into a venue and someone's like, rapper, yeah? Like, I'm like, why? I can't rap. I'm not the rapper. Or, I don't know how to describe it. These boxes that you get placed in. I love the fact that before this, I knew CeeLo Green. I didn't know him to sing, like, per se. I knew him to be, like, a bit gangster and stuff. So then I'm seeing him in this space doing all this weird stuff, wearing wedding dresses and on stage with, like, I'm just like, what? Like, dressed up as Darth Vader. And he's not like a Tank singer or like a D'Angelo singer. He's like, he looks like your uncle.
It's so true.
Do you know what I mean? And no shade on him or anything, but I love the fact that, like, if you Googled who was behind it, you're like, I don't get it. Like, you don't, it's, huh? But within us all, we have so many facets.
Yes.
And sometimes you're not allowed to be these things. Yes. And it's boring and it's annoying and it's long and it's just, like, so regressive. And I really appreciated that all through life. Like, I didn't rap. Like, the G Unit was the closest I got to in feeling connected to the rap culture. And he was singing half of the time. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's I really enjoyed, I think, that on the surface. But, like, there's a message in it. And he's some might say it's a bit Christian with the title and just saying, like, you know, he's free and just, but the expression as well. I love the sock puppet type thing as well. Like, some people think they're so gangster and they're not. They're not. Like, on the streets of Lagos, I see real gangster. Like, and then people come here and then they've got all the privilege and they've got all the opportunities and they still want to play gangster, but they're not gangster. You're not. Your light works. Like, you put your phone in and you got a phone. That, you know, you got credit on it. You don't have to worry about bills and you're not gangster. You're not living a gangster. But I really liked just the antithesis and the back and forth, and, like, even the moment at the end when they're both looking at each other, like, just awkwardly. Like, I enjoy it. And then even down, like, you know, when we're talking about, like, the music, it's like dun, 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 gang, gang. It's just gritty and but he's screaming and singing and it's like, I don't know, it's just a lot of things. And there's this, I just enjoy it. I don't know.
Yes, it's lovely.
I just
Thank
like
you
it.
for
It's just
sharing
fun.
it with us. Thank you. So let's go back, way back into time now, to the lineage, the migration. I want to talk a bit about your ancestry and kind of, we're beginning to talk about how you ended up here.
Yeah.
And I want to know more about that story, if you're happy to share with us.
As in, like, here today.
Like, as in London, like, how did your family, like, what's that? Tell us more about that journey of migration to become a person here of the diaspora, and what. Yeah, we'll talk about that some more.
My dad came initially. He was studying. I didn't really unpacked it with him, but I have a feeling he wasn't vibing with a lot of people here. So he was literally like, yeah, I'm going back to Nigeria. He married my mum. Pardon. And then they came to London.
Right.
I think that was really important for so many different reasons for me. I really appreciate the fact that he didn't. I appreciate the fact that that's part of the narrative. Like, he had to leave here. He wasn't vibes in. It wasn't designed for him, and he had to find someone that he could vibes with.
Right.
I really, really appreciate that lesson. I think that plays so much a part in my story. Like, if the room is too cold, don't put on your jacket. Leave the room. Don't try and fit into it. And if it's too hot, don't, like, take off your garments. No, it's not for you. Like, just go. And then if you need to exist in it, find your tribe. Find the people that you can get through that experience with, and people that you can, you know, like, see eye to eye. That's the one I learned from that one. then yeah, they were both here. Like I said, immigration was on their necks. They had me and my two sisters. Really proud of my sisters as well. Yeah, like like if you know me and what I do and stuff, they went to like Oxford and Cambridge respectfully, and like traveled the whole world studying here and there and this and that. So I'm really proud of them, and what they've done and how.
Can we get a clap for the sisters too?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm proud of them. But yeah, they gave birth to us three, and from North London to South London to East London, it was a big journey. You like in North, it's like, oh, that's where the Jewish community is, and I didn't know Friday people went for prayers because I didn't see that around. But I definitely saw these guys with, the hats and the hair and and the bagels. I remember bagels. I just remember these little things, and I'm like, that was my North London experience. And then South, I remember like you would see auntie and uncle and kids on a Sunday, barefoot in their white garments, running up in the church. You'd hear auntie like literally. I remember.
Okay, tell me. I'm ready. Tell me.
I remember walking down Peckham and seeing a basket with African land snails in it. Anyone? Yeah.
I don't know.
You can't imagine that in London today. Like, crazy. It's still there. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I live a sheltered life. But no, I just remember these things being like just so ingrained and the culture just oozing. And I appreciate them moments. But how did we get here? I mean, they got on a plane, they came. Yeah, like.
No, you told the story of your father came to study.
Yeah.
I love that narrative of him connecting with your mom and being like, listen, I need a connection here in the space because it's intense. It's like if you don't have your tribe, it can be an intense place where you feel.
And they've done like.
Yeah, exceptionally
ridiculously well. Like I'm not gonna, I can't. But they've done well. Like a lot of their peers. They look left and right and they're like, yo, well done, G.
Yes.
Like they spud each other because it's not easy, and there was a lot of struggles that wave of migrants had to deal with, and they're going stronger.
So let's go into the next track.
Okay.
Yeah. So this track is representing a bit more of that lineage and your ancestry. Should we play it and talk about it after?
Let's do it.
Let's do that. Oh, that's the same one as before.
It's a tune. Yeah,
Don't worry. No worries. I love this song.
Should I talk on it?
Yeah, tell us about it. Like,
let's
because we spoke on the phone the other day and we were like, Okay, no, listen. Up to you. You ready? You want to play it? Yeah, let's play it and we'll talk after.
When I dey cry, my mother go carry me. She go say, my pikin, wetin you dey cry, yo. Stop, make you
Yeah, we can leave it playing. We're just gonna talk over it because I find it very hard to cut tracks, any tracks, like especially if it's one that is dear to me. So, yeah, I did an interview one time where I shared some tracks and they were like, just cut it off, and I was like, that's the part that I wanted to hear the most. So let's reduce it, keep it playing, and tell me about this track. Like, yeah.
So I think this one is just like a staple in celebration moments, in times when you're on the dance floor. And I just remember this being that song that would just recognize the struggles and the just how our mums are always there for us. In African culture, there's so much placed on women to be mothers. Like, you're gonna be a mum. It's part of your journey into womanhood, like, you know. And when you get to be a mum, you're gonna have to have kids, and not just one, and not just a girl. It's got to be a couple boys as well, and they go through so much just heaped on them. I think that's something I definitely witnessed. My mum having to, she's had us, and then she's back at work, and they don't do holidays. Literally, annual leave doesn't exist. Like, they use that to find more work. You know, like, everything kind of revolved around work, and the only thing that they ever took the time out to do was us. So yeah, when this comes on, everyone rushes onto the dance floor. Everyone's ready to shake and dance. And I can't say any African song celebrates women, to me anyways, more than this one, or mothers. I know they're not the same, mothers and women, but it's what comes to mind. And all the aunties are there like, yeah, it's me, yeah. So it's nice, it's a nice, you know, a matriarchs, our mums,
This is what we spoke about. It's just like, what I love about African culture is, I mean, it's been kind of watered down a little bit now. But if we're going to the origins of our indigenous culture is matriarchy, you know, and we have so much female deities, female goddesses that, you know, as an effect of colonialism, we're all kind of like pushed out. And any moment to take, you know, musically or creatively, or any moment in general in life for me, to celebrate the divine feminine is like, it's just a part of who I am, to celebrate. So I was so happy that you chose this song, because, yeah, I'm just grateful that we take a moment to honor mothers, because we are all here because of them, eh? we all came through that portal. So and also, you know, that it has, obviously mothers have many different forms and aspects as well, you know, and also be celebrated. Not all are Mother Mary, you know. We are all different warriors. We are different, and we are powerful. And yeah, I'm just really grateful that you shared this track with us. Can we get a clap for the mothers?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now I would like to talk about your connection to this place a little bit more.
Sure.
Yeah, your connection to the UK. Like, you spoke a little bit about it earlier with school and stuff and the challenges you face, and just like, but I just want to know, like, a little bit more about, like, what it was really like growing up in that type of, you know, as an African. And you spoke about it a little bit before, but I'd like to know a little bit more about your UK identity. Like, for example, your artist name has been Alexander London. Like, so, you know, tell me.
So I feel like,
tell us. Sorry, guys.
yeah. we're all in it.
We are all present.
But yeah, I feel like okay, so I'll even tell you why, like, I'm Alexander London. Maybe that will give some so when I was when I was younger than this, people would save my number in their phone, and I'm not telling you my last name because
I don't know you.
Right. there's also a lot of stigma attached to African last names.
Interesting.
We're not gonna laugh at my expense. Also, I want to be ambiguous. I can't do a Jesse Nelson.
Luckily, I feel like I'm glad that I don't know what we are referring to here.
Yeah.
I think there's something
said
that
it.
just missed me, hey?
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. But I can't be ambiguous. I can't drop my black skin. I can't. I can't flip my hair, you know. But I can definitely not lean into telling you my last name and then you're African, you're Nigerian, and I played that card a million times over. Maybe I got away with my nose being a certain shape or with my face being structured a certain way, but I'd run with it, and I'd use that as my privilege to exist as Alexander first and not anything else after that. And yeah, so when people wanted to save my name in the photo, it was literally Alexander from London. It was just easy to just, you know. I feel like that says a lot about where I was and how I identified and what shaped a lot of.
Yeah. And how did you navigate like your sense of belonging? Like, you spoke a little bit earlier, like when you got to uni and stuff like. But
It was London.
Yeah.
It was London because I could understand London.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand Lagos
Yeah.
because I never grew up there.
Right.
But I could definitely say I was from London and say that with pride.
Yeah.
It's like the black mecca of the UK, right? It's like the place where everyone goes to get the best fashion, or where all the artists are, or where the creative scene is, where everything's popping. So I could be proud of London.
Where we are, yes.
And it wasn't just London in one facet. Like I'd been all over London and lived in all of these different places. So I feel like also, again, reading the room, it was easier a lot of the time to just exist as Alexander and not have to throw in anything else into the mix. If I'm throwing in last names, I'm drawing a line, I'm taking a side. All of a sudden, like, I'll tell you a story. So I went uni in Manchester, and I remember I was working in Subway. And this sister, like, she basically was like, you know what, these people, and she was talking about Nigerians. She spent about 10 minutes telling me about these people. She started here, and she worked her way all the way across to the other side of the conversation. When she finished, I was like, that's mad. Like, you know, there was like, you know when you're doing all the ad-libs and she say like, swear. Yeah. Really, yeah. You know them people you just spend all that time slandering and da-da-da-da-da. I'm one of them. Her face went red. Red. All the color flushed to her cheeks and silence. Like.
That's another thing that, like, I think is important for us as people of the diaspora to connect with each other, because there's so many times, like, even names, for example, I feel like names is a daily struggle. Like if we, and this is not just even African people, but like the queer community as well. We say we are identifying ourselves in this way. Just make the effort to accept that and approach me as that. Don't shorten my name. You know, I've told you my name is Demima. There's so many people that, oh, Demi. I've told you my name is Demima. You know, but it's like, it makes you comfortable but what about how it makes me feel? You know? And even then again, surnames. Like, we're now talking, so now I'm Mekelesu. No, I'm not Mekelesu. My name is Mselek. And it's not hard. Just take a little bit of extra effort. And these are the things that I'm talking about when I'm talking about that concept of being anti-racist, right? It's not enough to just say, oh, but I love black people. It's not enough. Like, we need to find ways to learn, to figure out what can I do to make sure that I'm being inclusive and honoring and respecting each other, you know? And, you know, it's very offensive to me. You know, I understand, you know, I get it, but at the same time, just make that extra effort to read, is that the right name? Is it spelled like that? Okay, cool, let me put it, you know, properly, you know?
We had that moment.
We had that moment. No, mistakes are made, but also mistake. You know, it's not a case of like, oh, you should like.
Of
we're not
course,
angry,
no,
but
no.
at the and that's another thing. We're not angry.
The
Like, let it also
world
be
would be
known.
burning if we were angry. Yeah.
But it's a case of, you know, there are steps that we need to take as a community, as a society, to just be inclusive.
Sure.
And, you know, these are things that we have been speaking about for a long time. And like you said, your parents were complaining about the same issues back then. My mother and you know, were complaining about the same issues. South Africa has been free for over 20, 30 years. And there's still issues that we're like, but it's still the same. You know, so what does it take? We need to, like, bring it home and go to the individual mentality within and say, okay, like, how do I shift?
You know what? I'm gonna big up my mum again.
Oh, that
She
mom's
made us watch Roots, and I found that really strange when I look back on it, because we're not American, and she's never even been to America. She don't even like them like that, if you know what I mean. She's not a fan. Like, do you know?
Hold tight, the African Americans.
She's not like oh, Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or Garvey, or she's not like that. But she made us watch Roots.
Yeah.
She made us watch is it Freedom Cry? Steve Biko.
Yeah.
She made us watch Cry Freedom.
Cry
Thank
Freedom,
you,
yeah.
thank you. She made us watch
Zulu, no.
She just had these things playing.
It's so important. It's so important for us to learn each other's culture. For us to be inclusive, we have to learn each other's culture and each other's perspectives. And that's another reason why I'm finding it important for us to tell our narrative and our story and dive into that, because there's certain narratives that are on repeat, and we all know about the slavery narrative, and actually we're trying to heal from it. So to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, like, we need to heal from it, and we need to go deeper into where were we before that, and to then reconnect to that's what gives us the pride to, like, oh, you
and
know,
not look for so many things to divide us. Like, we really, it's not a game. We're not.
Let me bring it back. 'Cause me and you, we will chop it up till the cows come home. You know?
But yeah, like let's
go back to your
Okay.
connection to the UK, and we're going into that next track that you selected. So I just want a little bit of background
some
context into the next track that we're going into.
So I talked about CeeLo Green and that, like, G-Unit era and just wanting to potentially connect. So I was always in the mix of someone's on the mic and it's like the grime is dropping and everyone's nodding their heads and we're all getting the energy, but I couldn't pick up the mic. Like, I sung, I was a singer, but I couldn't tell the world I was a singer because there was no space for me to be a singer. I didn't have muscles on the breast and on the belly, you know. Like, I wasn't that guy, so I didn't know how to exist as a singer. Like,
I'm so glad you weren't that guy. Like, thank you
me
for
too,
not being
me
that guy.
too. But there was no representation of,
No, I hear you.
like, you know, like someone who sung and they
Yeah.
maybe wasn't doing a Chris Brown or doing a Michael or doing I didn't dance either. It's a very difficult place, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't dance, I didn't look the type, but I sung, and I didn't even sing with all the
all of that.
I can't do it. I don't that's not my thing. So God knows how to carve a space or a place, but I definitely thank my mum for those moments where she would be like, look, you're black. She didn't make me hold my Nigerian over everything else.
Right.
She made me also recognize that, look, when these people see you, they're not asking you whether you're Nigerian or da-da-da-da. So I appreciate being part of the London story, and we know when the police are stopping you, they're not asking you whether you're Babatunde or Ade or Ola, or they don't care, like, you're black. Like, and we all look the same, right? So, like, I found peace and solace within my brothers, but it was a song like this that allowed me to also not delve too much deeper into the self-hate, because there was a lot. Like, you see another black boy, he wants to rob you, he wants to fight you, he's gonna give you eyes and you have to give him eyes back, and if he barges you, you have to fight. There's no space for you to be nice about it and talk it out, because they're gonna see that as weakness. Then next day you're gonna get barged twice, times 2, 4 the next day. Then 4 times 4, 16. You get where I'm going with it. Like,
I
yeah,
mean-
you couldn't show it. And school was messy. I disliked that aspect of secondary school because it was very messy, and we did things that I'm very ashamed of, and it was dark. It was very, very, very dark. Like the year I left, after I left, someone did something to a teacher that I can't even say, but it was like trigger warning. A female teacher, something happened, and it was like a woman. But it was, you know what I mean? Like, it was very, very, it made me, sometimes I used to hate because it wasn't me. I wasn't hating me, but I was hating them, and you look like me. So I felt like I hated myself. Do you know what I mean? So it was a very dark place. But something like this, I really appreciated this moment, because for a second, I could see representation. When you see these guys not they ain't got knives, and they're not fighting, it's that, I can love a black boy, and not, it doesn't need to be, oh, you're GAY, or you're this or that, you're soft, or you're all of these tropes and these stereotypes when you just want to hug a brother, or you just want to, oh, here's my last chicken wing. But
Let's
you
run the
couldn't
track.
do that.
Let's run the track.
But yeah.
Let's run
go
the
for it.
track.
Positive black boys around you making movements towards success. It's like I love it when I see rich black men like Diddy and Nelly. But when even happier when I seen Dizzy Rascal getting albums and get his face on the telly. Personally, when he won his Mercury, I thought, well done. He's a black boy who's just like me. So like, his respect is due certainly. And in 679's like Halo, I don't know him, but I thought, okay though, that's good for him. And I'm a black boy that's gonna make dope for evil. Hang tight evil. He did power, he brought in a few more black people. I rate them highly. That's why no matter what we had, I still got a shout out right. He built a scene. Amongst the young black boys, he built a dream that Mega Man did with So Solid. So that crew right there, we owe homage. When they won the Brits, I was like, bruh, black boys up in this itch. When I see the foe on the pitch, I'm like, bruh, black boys up in this, cause we're all black boys, yeah, we're all black boys. And one day we're gonna be black men, and one day we might have black boys, and we gotta teach them to be black men, black boys, yeah, we're all black boys. And one day we're gonna be black men, and one day we might have black boys, and we gotta teach them to be black men. Yo, look, no, we ain't hooligans, just young and talented Nubians with potential and promise. Innovative young masterminds like Sean Wallace. We need role models, so youngers know what success is. That's why I feel bomb inside when I see a black man like Tim Campbell can win The Apprentice. But when Swiss made cry, I ain't gonna lie, I could've cried. Look what happened to the motherland. They don't wanna see blacks the same as another man. When I heard that line, that sent tingles down my spine. Shout out all them ebony dimes, Katie Pearl and Keisha White, Miss Dynamite, Sadie, Desiree Sade, hang tight, Beverly Knight. Black diamonds, what a heavenly sight. Soon we'll be getting it right. See yourself as equal. Big up PDC and North Star, cause there's strength in numbers. When you're black and single, you're feeble. Stick together, my young black people. I don't want anyone to think I forgot them, cause I see all the black boys striving towards success. Shout out Sway, hang tight boy, better know the movement. Lamar, Fundamental, Nathan, R.I.P. DJ Swing, Lyndon David Hall, big up Omar, Gazzy B, Soul to Soul, Bernie Grant, Lord Larry Constantine. Shouts out to Amelamine, Ashley Waters, big up Richard Blackwood, Anti-Kojo, Lenny Henry, big up Black Twang, Rodney P. Understand it can be done. Look at Sir Trevor McDonald.
Yeah, man.
I definitely didn't really sing the lyrics. I was singing the chorus all the way through. Again, part of the conundrum.
But I just love that, like, it's so unapologetic, and it's so, like, just praising your peers and your people. Like, it's so rare for us to just shout out everyone in the track, like, at that time especially, but even now, you know, even anytime, it's a rare thing to do, because, you know, with us as performers, creative peoples, you know, especially when the light hits us, the ego shines, you know, sometimes, and then it's like, oh, it's me. When it's like, no, he's saying such important things that to bring others in is so key, it's so important.
And the
There's
amount
so
of
many of
remixes.
us. Yeah, I remember.
So you could bring everyone in, literally.
Yeah, literally, just like, because it's a movement. There's so many of us that are doing great things. So I really appreciate that, and I'm taking us back to 2006, 2007.
7 years, it was a time. Yeah.
So tell me about, like, your sense of belonging now. Like, how, like, because you spent time, you did Afropunk in the US. Like, we've connected with diaspora in different places in the world. And tell me how important that is for you to connect with, like, diaspora globally.
It's everything. Like, if we know what Berlin was once represented for, but Lord knows I've been there a million times with the tribe, with the peoples, doing unapologetically black stuff. Like, and I love it. Like, it's so important. Sometimes people come up to you. I think that one of the things that really taught me about this is because to me, I'm just doing what I'm doing, right? But then someone comes up to you and they're like, nah, bro. And then I'm looking at them like, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, woman,
look,
man, girl, sister, boy, whatever. I'm looking at you.
That looking of acknowledgement. Yeah. I mean, even in Zulu, you know, like in my language, we say sawubona, which means we see you, or I see you. You know, it's we see you. And there's no hello. We don't have a word for hello. We see you. You know? And it's literally like that acknowledgement, that thing that you're talking about, it's like embedded within our DNA, our culture to greet each other like that, not just like, oh, hi. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't give me hi. Like, we are here. Like, I'm acknowledging you, and you know, we are acknowledging each other.
And the UK definitely made me a high person. And it was a lot of...
Because we do that.
I mean,
like I said, there's parts of London that I love, but there's some parts that really bother me. Just like how we, you know, even like public transport, like we're always just like moving, and I think it's because of how much of a challenge it is to be in this city. It's expensive, and so you're like you're going to where you need to get to, and so, you know, but there's not much of that thing of like. And I feel like I do all the time, especially if I see a Southern African. I'm like, hey, you are one of mine. Like, come, like, let's hug or something. But equally, just like us connecting as people in general, like regardless of race, like even, you know, like it's just not enough in this city. I wish it was more, because it makes not just the place cold, but the culture a little bit colder, like as well.
Yeah. You're gonna Tipex a lot of the stuff I say if I say it. Okay. So I'm just But yeah, I'm trying to unlearn
a lot of things.
Because that London thing is it's not. I don't know. Let me not say it. Yeah, because.
At this point,
I think we need to be better, but I'm just gonna stay with myself and learn to be better myself. But it's it's coming from all angles.
Yeah.
You see your brother, and then they're looking at you, and you're looking at them, and you're like, oh, I'm not even gonna engage in this moment because I don't like where this is going. But was it that? Was it me? Do you know? It's just so complex, and I hate it. So, I don't know how it's difficult existing. So but I'm trying to be better and do better, and sometimes that means not coming out of my house.
I hear you.
So that's what I mean. It's just complex. It's just it's very good.
That.
It's very complex.
I hear that. Okay, let's move on. So I want to take this time to just celebrate you as an artist now. Like,
Wow.
oh my gosh, like what an incredible force you are, and what you have, the artistic expression that you have brought to us all, that you have shared. Like, we are all here for it, and we are grateful for it. And you've done so much in almost 10 years, coming up to 10 years. But yeah, I mean, you Alexander London 2013.
Yes.
But 2016 was the first like official EP release.
Yeah.
And then 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. But I want to talk a little bit about that expression of the numerology, and like as much as you are willing to share, because I know that some of these deeper things, like we're like, that's for me, these are codes, these are supposed to be codes. But I just like, really what I'm interested in is the Greek numerology, and then the Yoruba numerology. So in 2018 you released 2023, right?
Yes.
And then after that you had 4 Merin in 2019, 3 Meta in 2020.
Yes.
So you told me on the phone, but tell me a little bit.
You know what? Let me even do it like, so the whole reason why Alexander London came as an artist type thing is because I really struggled to put my hands on something creatively. I'm not even really a musician. I started in art. I started with graffiti. I started with fashion. I started with clothes. And you see some of that in my expression as Alexander London, the musician everyone may know me today to be. But it was beyond that. Like, I never felt confident, like, in the gospel choirs I grew up singing in. I wasn't the lead singer. I never got no solos. I was there blending my voice, like making sure it's like in tune with everybody else, and just like I was part of the thing. I was never like the hat, and not like, just before we started, you asked about the lights and everything. I'm not used to having the lights. As much as I am used to having the lights, I'm not used to them directly hitting my eyes, because I've got a hat on covering my face, because I don't do that. No.
Yeah, you're not really in it. Like.
No. At all.
I hear you.
At all. Like, I'm not even awkward. I don't do that.
Yeah.
It's not me. Like, I didn't grow up. Like, again, I wasn't the tallest. I wasn't the biggest. I wasn't the strongest. I wasn't the finest. I'm just trying to do my thing. And that helps me to just be like, do you know what I mean? But I've learned that there's a time and a place for it. But definitely when you're on stage, and I remember them days, people bring out the camera, snap. I'm like, don't do that. I've lost all the lyrics. I can't. I'm not shy, but I don't do that. Like, you're triggering me, literally. But you're not allowed to be an artist and get triggered by that stuff. And like, anyways, back to 2013. I've done really well to stay on topic today, by the way. Really well. 2013, I said, Alexander London, and let me do this, and let me see what it's like to just go 10 years unapologetically learning and growing and being more of the person who can take off the hat and have these conversations and being honest and vulnerable and da-da-da. And I wanted to kill the Alexander in 2013. Symbolically and spiritually, I wanted to grow. And I wanted to be like, at the end of the journey, 10 years later in 2023, I wanted to be like, and I'd just be floating, and
just levitating.
the bed would be all white and like all coily into the floor and everything. And I had this vision of who I'd be, but to get there, I knew I had to literally throw myself on stage and do that, and not try and do that. Like, I'm going to. So I had to do a project every year to say, what have you learned this year? What are you doing this year? How have you grown? And and the first, like, the numerology thing is because it's all about time. For me, I don't know. It's a big fixation on time. There's a YouTube video somewhere in the world that says time doesn't exist. I ain't watched it. To me, time very much exists, and I'm very fixated on, like, I was here and I'm going there, and how do I get there? And living in the moment is very difficult. It's like, what happened yesterday or what's going to happen tomorrow? Like, now it's just me running away from it or towards it. Still struggle with that small. But 2013, I was like, no, you're going to have to document this. Otherwise, my memories, and, just certain things that I wanted to really pinpoint, like, I'm not a patient person, so how do I get there, and what am I going to do? And I write these lyrics and these poems and sing them, and have to sing them a million times over so that I don't mess them up on stage, but then also so I can record it and it makes sense, and then I have to perform it a million times. They're prayers, they're self-affirming things, and it's like, I'm talking about that moment, and it's like, you don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm talking about something. And yeah, it was that was the thing. But yeah, even down to the titles of the projects, the first one was a long time ago, and I was trying to set myself in this, like, this anime type of
I'm so here for it, because anime is my thing. Like, I love it, and then you just brought it to life for me.
It was so
and
fun.
Also just with you, like, as that, like, it just inspired me so much, and I just was like, I just live for to see you in that expression. It was like, this is my tribe, this is my people's, because
Do you know how cool it was to just be like, you know, I'm gonna get up on stage and just wear this whole thing, and I'm gonna fully throw myself. Like, I perform with my eyes closed like 99% of the time. Especially at that moment, I just perform and just be lost in it properly, and I loved it. And no one could tell me anything. And people be in the studio, like, oh, I don't think that lyric is gonna resonate with. Shut up. You know, like, it was very like, leave me alone. Like, you don't know where I'm coming from. Like, right now, I should pick up the table and dash it over your head, or I should do stuff that I'm not doing now. I'm on my journey and I've grown so much. Like, what do you mean you're telling me something? I should run up on you and do X, Y. I came from a very somewhere place. The growth. Like, so yeah, first song was a long time. Project was a long time ago. Yeah. Then the next one was today. Yeah. Then the next one was 2023. It was just like trying to throw myself into this. Adele does it really well. I don't do it that well, but I like the idea of, you've hit a certain mark, you've hit a certain moment, let's make it poignant. And yeah, when I got to after 2023, I was like, where am I going with this? Because I've done a long time ago. I've done today. Yeah. And then I've done the future, 2023. Yeah. And I was like, where do I go now? And then I was like, wait. Let me start making this actually make sense. I was really struggling with the identity, because a lot of people be like, oh, you're this Japanese loving, manga loving, thing like that. Yeah, but I'm a lot more than that.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I also wear stuff like this as well. Like, and this means way more to me than half the time. Like, when they're saying I'm wearing the mangas, I'm like, this outfit was from Morocco. I went and got it. Like, this is, like, my dad was born a Muslim. Like, I've got Islamic roots, and like, it's not just that, but I guess it's what you put out there that people will say you are.
Yeah, I mean, people are just projecting it. They're like, again, it's that boxing thing, and that, again, going back to the go-go gadget gospel, it's like, I'm free. Like, my creative expression is mine and my own. And
but at that point, I was like, no, you see, you people, yeah, unless I tell you, Africa, black, you're not gonna take that. So I had to start throwing in the Yoruba into the. Literally,
I had to just.
Literally, I was just like, look, you know what? Let me actually give you the problem, because I'm using on the project in
2019
for memory.
Yeah.
Literally, that was like the number 4 IV.
Yeah.
Just throwing it down to my UK whitewashed name, Alexander, Greek, versus my Yoruba, which is Merin is 4 in Yoruba, and IV is Greek, Roman numerals for the number 4. And that's the conundrum also of being a child of both worlds. Yeah. And always trying to balance it. Like, where are you from? Who's asking? You know what I mean? Like, so it's all of those things. And then I just started to throw those into the mix. I think I answered your question.
Yeah, you did.
But yeah, like, it was 4/4 IV Merin, then it was 3 Meta, I Meta, and then this year is 2 Meji, and I'm enjoying it. I think I'm understanding myself better and having conversations because of that. It was really interesting when I was in Nigeria and I was telling people the new project is 2 Meji. Every time I said it, they'll say, okay, so Meji, and they would drop the 2, because to them it's like, Why am I saying the
Words,
same word
yeah,
twice?
twice,
And I
yeah.
love that they just take Meji and be like, to that. I'm like, it's interesting. It's interesting how, yeah, the conversation that comes about. And I think that was also my way of calling myself Alexander with all the syllables, if that makes sense. It was my way of now doing it. Like, I could change my artist name, but I probably wouldn't. But I can have the conversation in another way. And yeah, I don't know.
Can we listen to Meji?
Yeah.
And yeah, tell us about it, because this is a live.
Yeah.
This is from you just coming from home.
Yeah.
From Nigeria, and yeah, like we didn't get enough of that experience when you were just there. And because you connected in as an artist, you delve straight in. 'Cause you weren't there for that long, right? You went for like
it was just under a month. Yeah, just under, it wasn't that long.
Yeah. And so, you were telling me like the importance of working with like Nigerian musicians and like what that was for you.
I think it taught me to stop romanticizing things. There's struggle everywhere. Humans are human everywhere. But I definitely didn't have to fight certain battles anymore. And would I take that over some of the experiences I've had in the UK? Yeah. I definitely recognize I had a certain privilege. Like, the words that come out of my mouth sound a certain way. So all of a sudden, my influences may look a certain way, and others may think, oh, you've got this and you've got that. So I think it was also humbling. I definitely felt like I had a lot more to learn about trying to make my music make more sense to people back home as well. I definitely quickly realized I had to go back to school a bit. Like, I thought, no, that you get that rhythm in it. It's a bit African and Nigerian in it. And it's like,
not the in it with it.
They're like
Nigerian in it.
They're like, what? And it quickly made me realize that it's funny how we're all out here in the UK like, oh, I'm Nigerian and I'm proud and I'm African. Over there it's like, now what? What? Like, it's like, so yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, I enjoyed making this. I produced this. Yeah.
Hey.
I produced it, and
this is exclusive, right?
Oh yeah. It's not out yet. It's not. Yeah. And it also made me feel like I don't know. I just felt like I was contributing something to an African platform in a way that maybe I haven't done in the past. And I'm no longer wearing the hat, but I'm performing. It's just showing the journey, and I was performing with like my brothers, and it was nice. It was nice. It was new, and it was nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, enjoy.
I'm not the one. Spin out of control. Stuck inside the sticky soul. Words stuck on repeat. Sinking underneath our feet. Surrender all. Surrender all. Surrender I'm not the one. Don't get it twisted, first.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that exclusive with us.
Yeah. It'll be out on Spotify.
Yes, I was about to
soon.
say, like, please tell us where we can, like.
Yeah, I'm gonna release it soon,
Okay.
but it'll be on Spotify soon. I promise. Like I'll post on my
You
Instagram
will
that I
share
never
with us.
post on, but I'll post and I'll say it's out, everyone. But yeah, soon.
Awesome. Thank
Like-
you. Thank you. We'll be looking out for it. And anybody who hasn't listened to more of Alexander London's music, please go and listen. You are missing out if you haven't. Yeah, so at this point, I would like to open up the conversation and to others in the space. You are ready with your question. Hi, Brooke. So I don't think we did actually prepare for an extra mic, so I'm just gonna. No. The question I'm sure is for you, no? It's definitely. So, yeah, you can speak loud. Project, babes. Project.
So my question is, how has your connection to music and your individuality, if it has at all, changed or transformed since going home and coming back? Like, do you have any more, I guess, an influence that you might bring in now?
That's a very interesting question. I feel like these questions haven't been asked of me yet, so I'm gonna quickly just go in my head. And one of the things I think I noticed a lot when I was out there was everybody's dancing usually when music's coming. There's a lot of drums and there's a lot of ging, 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 ging. So I went to weddings, I went to parties, I was listening to music in the car. There is a general type of thing where, like, there's what's that track called? Peru, para, Peru, para. There's so many different. I think, okay, so when I first thought of Afrobeats growing up, it was more of the like dun 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 dun, and it was Afrobeat without the S. And then when I started thinking about it as I was coming into my teenage, early 20s type, it was a bit more, it was these, maybe a French tune would come on and we'd dance and stuff, but I was still in the dance. I think what's happened now is I'm hearing African music coming from me left, right, this, that. Half of the time I don't know what's really being said. I don't really know where the person comes from. Like, sometimes someone's like, no, they're from London. And I'm like, what? Or sometimes they're from the continent. And I think there's a lot of expressions. I don't know whether I fit into that. That was me trying to do Afrobeats, by the way. Do you get where I'm coming from? So I'm still trying to figure out how to exist in that space. And I had certain conversations and people were like, yeah, we understand this and we understand that. We don't understand what you're doing. So we don't know how that is going to exist here. So I'm still trying to figure it out. But I definitely will say one of the things I definitely marked was everybody dances usually when music plays in Nigeria. And I don't know that all of my music is danceable too. So I think if I'm going to find myself still in my being true to myself but existing more in that space, I think I'm gonna have to like turn up the just do another side of Alexander that people like. I used to be a skanking king. Like, I used to be on a dance floor. Like, there was no it was mad. Like, I'd be sweating and I'd be doing all of the moves and stuff. But I've never brought that to Alexander London. I'm very stoic on stage. I'm very like, Alexander, just get through your performance. Don't unplug the mic by accident. Don't rip your garment. Don't like. Yeah. So maybe I'm just gonna. Maybe I'm gonna have to tap into aspects of me that I've never really explored in my own music. Like, I love a turn up song, but I don't make that. So yeah, maybe there's something in that.
Can I just ask
Yeah,
you
yeah,
a
yeah.
question to add on? Because obviously you went and I guess if you're going away from London, everything's going to be a turn up anyway. So maybe I don't know, maybe I guess if you spent longer out there, you might change what you've just said because you might see different parts to
True.
your experience.
Music out.
And and also like there to bring another element and to bring another aspect, there are people there that are waiting for that, you know, that may not have access to it, that may not be. So I think it would just like, the more time you spend, it would, right?
Yeah.
But also, like, definitely explore this other sides.
No, but I love an Afrobeat.
Yeah,
I love a.
Yes,
like,
and growth, and
yeah.
just like allowing, like you said, like the first track said, not allowing us to just do one thing or stay in one way. It's like, no, we are shifting, moving people, and
anyone who's familiar with my music, I don't know if you've noticed it or you get it or you've seen it, but I've tried really, really hard to do different things, like from project to project, but I've definitely not done anything that adventurous where it would be like, huh? This is Alexander. Like, but I listen to that and I love what a lot of the brothers and sisters are doing over in the continent, but I just challenge accepted. Yeah.
What are your influences from here musically? Because you give me vibes of like old school Michael Payne. I don't know if you know Michael Payne, but like that kind of energy. You're very articulate. You're very intentional with the things that you say in a really positive way. But I'm trying to grasp like what your British influences have been, especially when it comes to music and the community, because we're kind of from the same age group, whatever. But like, that was a very, like you're saying, it was a very sharp time for us. I think growing up, it was very intense. There was a lot of things that happened, good times, but a lot of dark times, I think, in school for us, all of that age group. And I'm really intrigued to know, like, what inspired you from our era.
That was definitely one of my questions, so thank you. But I also just like, go on.
It was very hard to. I was banging out Spice Girls. I was banging it out, but it was hard to. I didn't want. You're not bullying me. I'm not gonna be a victim.
Come on.
No, but you couldn't. Come
on, no.
You couldn't.
This is why Spice Girls.
You weren't. So what I was listening to in my ears versus what I was walking on road representing was two different.
I'm here for the honesty.
I'm here for the honesty. Primary schoolish. I'm talking like, and I feel you.
Sis, you know the girls are doing the routines, and I'm supposed to be kicking ball, and I'm like. Yeah. Kick the ball to me.
Here for it.
Like it was. Yeah, it's complex. But I listen to every. Hit me, baby. And you know what the funniest thing is? You know a lot of the rock songs. Like they hit a soulful. It's complex. But you couldn't do that as a black man, boy. You couldn't close your eyes and be singing like, what are you trying? Like, I grew up in London, not Essex, London, or you know what I mean? Like it was real London, and you had expectations thrust on you from early. And who did I like growing up?
Like was like the Roll Deeps, the Heartless Crews, the All Saints. Like, are we on the same?
Yes, but the annoying thing was because I couldn't grime properly. I just did it on the streets. Right. I couldn't grime I couldn't bars, I couldn't lyric, I couldn't. So I'd be in the youth centre, I'd be listening to the music, I'd be bopping my head. As soon as there's a scuff outside, I'm there. But I can't pick up the mic. And it was really annoying because if I could, and I could have that. No, because I feel like it was, you know, a lot of men would say, that was how they found their way out. I couldn't find my way out because there wasn't space for me to sing. But I wanted to sing. But the spaces that I could sing in, don't do it. It's not the one. So gospel choirs were, I think, Kirk Franklin. I love the Kirk Franklin. But choir was on Tuesday. I go to choir, but there's 6 other days of the week to do madness. Do you know what I mean? So it's very, I was living triple life. Not even double life, triple life. And I'm not ashamed to say it, but Yeah, I was G Unit. Really, Ja Rule and G Unit. They were the ones who allowed me to. Like I could somehow be gritty, and you know, because the man was still shooting each other, stabbing each other. So all of a sudden, I was like, oh my gosh, tribe. So yeah, that was complex. But no, I liked pop music a lot, radio music all day long. I didn't even like, I'll be honest, I'm sorry, but I didn't even like Beyonce when she went single. I liked all the gospel, R&B type Destiny's Child stuff, if you know what I mean. I liked that more. No, I don't know. I liked all the Christmas, you know when they did the Christmas project? Like, I liked all of that. I liked all of Neo Soul. So, that was my guy. That's actually probably my biggest male music influence, music soul child.
Wow.
Yeah, like Stevie Wonder, Michael, all the Michael songs. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions? Okay, I think I speak for everybody in the room and anybody that is outside of this space but with us too. Hi, we also acknowledge you that are not in the room but are here with us. Thank you so much for taking us on this beautiful, sacred journey of deeper into your story. You know, I know that it brings to go into our stories. It brings out vulnerability. It brings out triggering things. It brings out, you know, there's so much depth to our journey. I'm so grateful that you shared it with us. So on behalf of the room and the rooms and I, thank you. Can we have a round of applause, please?
Thank you.
Thank you. I also just want to take this moment to give thanks to all of the beautiful women that put their hands into making this space beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Temi. Thank you, Samatawi. Thank you, Liane. Thank you, everybody that was a part of this. Also, thank you, Takia, for being on the ones and twos for us. And thank you so much, Julia, and for allowing this to happen. We are super grateful to you for funding and bringing us into a space where we can make these things happen because they are necessary. And so thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please check out Alexander London's music. And also, just to let you guys know, there is another Diaspora Dialogues happening this Friday as well. So please, stick around and come again. And thanks again.
And thank you, Demima, for hosting this beautiful night. Please get a round of applause for Demima. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alexander London, for sharing your experience, for being vulnerable. Thank you all for being here and supporting. And it's been amazing. Thank you again.